bring in Eli McKown-Dawson, a Silver Bulletin Assistant Elections Analyst. Thank you so much for joining us here on France 24. Now, your latest piece is titled, The Polls Are Close, but that doesn't mean the results will be. Are you saying we could have an outcome by tomorrow itself?
Yes, absolutely, depending on sort of what the polling error looks like tomorrow night. So in most elections, the polls are off in one direction or another. Now, currently in all the battleground states, the polls are incredibly close. What that means is if we have sort of a normal-sized polling miss toward either candidate, either Donald Trump or Kamala Harris could end up winning all 7 swing states. And in a situation like that, where the margins aren't particularly close because the polls are either underestimating Trump or underestimating Harris, we could definitely have an outcome by tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Okay, so based on the data you've been looking at from the states you've been looking at, who's going to win?
So we ran our final model update early morning, and it is as close to a coin toss as you can get based on the data. Our final forecast gives Kamala Harris a 50% chance of winning the election and Donald Trump a 49.6% chance of winning. So it is, based on the polling, incredibly close. If I had to be one candidate right now, I would prefer to be Kamala Harris, but just ever so slightly. It really is, based on the polls, an incredibly close race.
And Eli, what were some of the top concerns on voters' minds?
So certainly the economy and inflation are top of voters' minds. That's a fairly common issue across most U.S. elections, and especially this year, given sort of the inflation issues over the past couple years. I know for a lot of people, especially in the Democratic Party, the issue of abortion is quite top of mind. We've seen that play a big role in a lot of sort of the 2022 midterm elections and in special elections. And then on the Republican side, immigration is sort of a top issue there, and they want to see a tightening of the U.S. border.
We had a latest poll come out of Iowa just a couple of days ago, which showed, conducted by the Des Moines Register, which showed that older women, firstly, it showed that Kamala Harris was up by 3 points against Donald Trump. And it also showed that the trend that older women had moved away from the Republican Party. Do you think this trend could be repeated in other parts of the United States?
So yes, that was a very surprising poll. Trump won Iowa in 2020 by 8 points. So this poll is conducted by Ann Seltzer, an excellent pollster, shows Harris leading. If that poll is correct, even directionally, and Trump performs worse in Iowa than he did in 2020, that is really bad news for him because it probably means he's also going to do worse in other sort of Midwestern states like Michigan and Pennsylvania. In terms of the trend with older women, absolutely, there's in sort of an emerging, growing gender gap right now, with women being more likely to support the Democrats and men being more likely to support the Republicans. I think it's very likely that we're going to see that play out across other states as well.
Now, this election is going to come down to a handful of states. So which ones does Harris need to secure the presidency? Is it Pennsylvania, where she spent all of yesterday?
Yes, Pennsylvania is going to be really important for both candidates. Honestly, if one of them loses Pennsylvania, they're not going to their paths to the White House are going to be severely restricted. Other important states for Harris are probably the other 2 blue wall states, Michigan and Wisconsin. If she can hold strong there and pull ahead in Pennsylvania, that will probably give her the election.
Okay, we'll see how things pan out. Eli McKown-Dawson, thank you so much for speaking to us.